Hi there, Stampers. This is Lisa with Queen Bee Creations. Welcome to today's live. Today we're doing a fun one. We are doing a suspended book fold, which means it kind of pops up and is very 3D. I've seen some great ones on Pinterest. They're even more 3D when they add stacked up flowers, and there's some really pretty things you can do with it. I'm making sure that you guys understand the fold and that it's thin enough we can get it into the mail on one stamp. But I hope you love it. Let's get started. Okay, so here we are down on my desk. As I said, this is a suspended book fold, and that it kind of looks like a book on top. And it has these little brackets that hold it up, kind of suspended in air. And I'm using our Silly Old Bear Sweet. I've been having so much fun playing with this one. This is something that's coming out next week. Wow, coming up fast. I am so excited when you guys finally get to purchase this one because it has been a lot of fun to play with. And I know that these labels, I'm going to be able to use those for a long time, even after I'm done playing with Winnie the Pooh. Okay, I'm going to be using one of our new in colors, or actually two of them. This is Hydrangea Hue. So that's going to be my base. And it's just a standard 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. The part that's on top, that's our little book, that's 4.5 by 4 1/4. Then my little brackets here, these are 4.5 by 2. And then they are scored at 1 1/8, 2 1/4, and 3 3/8. And then I've got some layers. We have our inside layer in very vanilla. That's just 5 1/4 by 4. These little pieces are going to go in our bracket right here. So these are 7/8 by 1 3/4. And there's 8 of those. Then I have our side pieces that are going to go on either side of our book. So these are 1 1/8 by 4 with some DSP that's going to go over it that is, excuse me, 7/8 by 3 3/4. Then our middle piece here, our Blushing Bride, that's the other new color I'm using, not Blushing Bride, that's the old one. This is Barely Blush. Sorry. That's going to be our middle piece, and it's 2 3/4 by 4. And then our DSP is 2.5 by 3 3/4. Okay, for our focal point on the front, I took one of the scenes, one of these sheets, actually two of them. One comes in frames and one of them are just standard scenes. And I took one that was portrait style, it was this way. And I just cut it down to what I needed for the front of my card. So let's see, the mats are 2 inches by 4 inches. And these are 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. So overall, my piece started out 3.5 by 3 3/4, and then I cut it straight down the middle and then just separated it. So that's going to be my front. Like I said, lots of other people I've seen do them. They just do a pretty muted, simple background, and then they build a scene on top of it that would be really pretty. But I want you guys to understand the fold. I did watch a video on it, and she didn't give all the measurements, and then she got confused in the middle of the card and made mistakes. So I had to sit down and make myself a lot of notes. And we're going to go off my notes. Okay, so we can go ahead right away and just add our layers to our mats. That's just going to make less pieces, right? I see Janet's back. Welcome. I know Janet was out on vacation for like almost a month, out doing all kinds of fun things. And then we have, she's from Nevada, and then Mary's here in Idaho, and then Julianne from Iowa. Fun. Has anybody done this fold before, or have you seen it online? This was a fairly new one to me. Oops, I am not centered on that. Because they're all going to be kind of side by side, I wanted to make sure that my, border across the top, that they kind of lined up well. Good, I see it's at least new to Angie. That's fun. I've done a couple other what we've called book folds, and even a pop-up book fold. But the suspended one was kind of new. Okay, I think I can go ahead and we're going to install these on our actual book part here. Helps if we're right side up. Okay, and then, like I said, I've got 8 of these little ones here. And I'm just doing the cardstock. You could layer DSP on top, or you could just do DSP, or you could dry emboss these. There's all kinds of fun things you could do. You could even leave them blank, actually. But I thought it would be fun to go ahead and put these layers on. Now, when we put these together, they're going to kind of Z-fold onto there, as you can see here. Oops. Get that back. So it's the 2 middle panels that are going to have the layers on them. So when I'm putting this together, I'm not going to do the end pieces. Those are the pieces that are going to attach this to my card. So I'm just doing the 2 middle ones, but I'm doing front and back. And like I said, you don't have to do these. You don't have to do the inside. This is all creative preference, of course. And then when I put mine together, the first one, I didn't burnish these, I don't think, well enough because it's very popped up. I'm sure once it sits for a while and it's been in the envelope and goes through the mail, all those kind of fun things, it will flatten out. But this time I'm going to be sure to run my bone folder over this so that they do lay nice and flat. At least as flat as I can get them. All right. Now, we're going to begin layering this onto our card base. This is on top, so we don't need this yet. And we know that these are going to go here with this in the middle. And then this is going to be under here. So what I want to do is I want to kind of center it. And I want to butt it into this score line, essentially. So I'm going to give it some adhesive and then try to find the center. I'm going to fold that over. Okay, so that's one side. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. So I'm, again, trying to make sure that I'm, equal here. A little more adhesive than normal. Anytime it's going to have some tugging and pulling, we want it good and stuck. Okay, and then this would go on the front of the card. But it's going to be easier, I think, to put the edges on first and then center the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to put on either side by just making sure that the side border is the same as the top and the bottom. Just kind of making it even on those three sides. Again, making sure I'm right side up. Because we want our card to, open with the pieces right side up on the front. Then when I put my adhesive on here, and then try to find the middle, to me it's easier. I mean, if I had tried to put the middle piece in first, I think I would have had to, measured the middle of this piece and measured the middle of my card and lined it up on my grid paper. But by putting the middle in last, I'm just kind of splitting the difference. Okay, then this is going to go right in the middle. So again, I'm going to kind of figure out where the middle is. Making sure I'm even on either side, flush with the top and bottom. And then I'm going to put my adhesive on one side. Oops. And then kind of close that. Okay, then I'm going to do the other side. Okay, so there is our floating or suspended book fold. And I thought it looked a little, it's a beautiful scene, but I thought it looked a little empty, so I'm going to stick Winnie the Pooh there. For my online class, when I was playing around with this, I actually took an X-Acto knife and I cut around his paw, and then I tucked a honey pot under there. That came out really cute. Okay, inside the card, I'm just going to take a little bit of maybe some DSP or something we can do off to the side. This you can see I've kind of cut funny because those dies that come with these sweet friends, they cut out all the little things in here. Like all of these images all have dies that go with them and cut them out. Super useful. Okay, remember we could also take and use one of our labels in the middle or stamp a label in the middle and then put our sentiment inside a label. I mean, that could be pretty on the inside. But let's see. Because I started playing with pink, I think I'm going to come in with that. So I'm cutting this down to a little over 4 because I'd rather have it too long than too short. And then I usually go with 1/2 inch. That seems to be just enough to make it an accent without being overpowering. And then it's really easy to turn it over and just snip this off from the back so I'm even. And then we just need a saying. Let's see. I've been using this one a lot. Sometimes when you go looking for happiness, happiness finds you. Let's do that one. I'm going to lay this on my grid paper, or my grid lines, so that I can get that straight. And then pick it up with my block. And then I'm going to use the Hydrangea Hue ink, which of course is in one of our new magnetic pads. I do love these. Someone asked me the other day, do you like them? I do. I'm not happy that the price is going to go up, but they are so easy to open and close, and I like the felt in there better than I like the firm foam. While I did like the firm foam when it first came out, several of my pads are getting a little crusty, and they're saying that has something to do with the anti-foaming agent after a while. And we did have those two colors, Purple Posy and Cloud Cover, that really didn't like the anti-foaming agent. So they say that our colors will be more accurate with the different pads. So that's exciting. And it's fun that this is the perfect color for Eeyore, and Golden Glow is the perfect color for Winnie the Pooh, and then the Barely Blush is a good color for Piglet. So they all go very well with this. I also got the Stampin' Blends in the new colors, so we could play around with those. So I'm going to stamp Eeyore down here in the corner. And I'm going to use our new hybrid ink. So we have a new black pad. I wish it came in our magnetic cases, but it doesn't. It comes in this other one. It is, it has a tendency to stain, so make sure that you clean them right away. We also have found out that while you can watercolor and color with your Stampin' Blends with this, they recommend that we heat set it first. So I'm going to take this over to my heat tool and just heat it with that a little bit, just to make sure that it's good and dry. Anybody else remember when we used to use chalk? We had those little cubes of chalk in all the different colors. With those, we used to spray hairspray over the top to set the colors. Okay, now it's really easy to look at the designer series paper to try to figure out how Eeyore is kind of colored. Let's see if I pull in one of these. We can see that Eeyore is a little darker on his paws and his ears, and then his belly is left white, although I don't think it's white. I think it's just a lighter blue, but anyway. So I'm going to take my dark Hydrangea Hue. I'm going to color in his ears and come up his legs. And then I'm going to hit around kind of the shadow areas where the artist has left some shadowing with their, what do you call it? The artist, when they're drawing the lines. So I'm kind of following those for some shading. And then I'm going to come in with my light. And again, I'm kind of staying to the outer edge. And then I'll come back and lightly do the middles. And I'm making sure to go over what I already colored, because the way that they're going to blend is while they're still wet. So I want to make sure that it's all good and soaked well. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of flick into the middle. By flicking, you start off kind of heavier and then it lightens up as it gets to the middle. So this keeps my outside darker than my inside. Okay, and right there I went out of the lines, which would be a perfect example to show you. See how I've got a little bit outside of his belly there? This is where I want to take our color lifter, and I'm going to start away from it, and I'm going to get it good and wet, but I'm pushing towards where I colored, and it's pushing the ink back inside the lines. See, so now it's gone. So although the color lifter looks like it's not really helpful, it actually is. Also, if I had gotten Eeyore a little too dark and I wanted to do a little lifting, you could just color right over the middle and it would just lighten the color a little bit. And see, it is definitely supposed to go all the way through to the back. Some people had said, "Ooh, I went too heavy." No, it's intended to do that. That's part of coloring with alcohol inks. And we're going to place that on the inside. And there we go. There is our suspended book fold card. Okay, so I'm going to go back through our comments and see if there's any questions. More people said it was new. That's good. Somebody said she'd seen it but hasn't done it yet. Hopefully this video helps. Mary still has her chalks. Cool. Okay, so I don't see any questions. So I'm going to come back here and thank you for being here and encourage you to come back on Thursday for another fun fold card. Thank you so much. Bye.